from Israel Cycling Academy training camp in the not so sunny Girona. Welcome to the GCN Show.
From Vienna, Luxembourg, welcome to the GCN Show.
Welcome to the GCN Show. Go on, Tom! Go on, Tom!
Welcome to the GCN Show. This week we look at the next wonder material for bikes, and we also revel in a dramatic weekend at the Cyclocross World Championships.
We've got the best cycling news stories from around the world, and we hear from the king of bling himself.
Oh, not Lloydie.
No.
And if that's not enough, Tom, we also tell you how and when you can get your hands on the new GCN cycling kit. This last week, Tom Boonen made history by becoming the first rider to win a pro road race on disc brakes. Not that he actually used them to win, although they didn't seem to slow him down either, if you see what I mean, because he actually won a sprint stage of the Vuelta San Juan, pipping ace rider Italian Elia Viviani to the line. Now, he seems to be, Boonen this is, one of a number of specialised riders that are contemplating racing that Venge Vice disc. We've seen Sagan messing around on his, and then if you check out this video here, look, that's Lloydie effortlessly leading Marcel Kittel out at the Tour de Dubai. Although the video does cut a little bit short, I quite want to see what happens next, probably when Kittel drops a Wattage bazooka and blows Lloydie into the desert.
You know, like how Andre Greipel backed off a little bit from that and down.
Yeah.
Maybe Marcel can back off in a similar manner, but quicker with discs.
Test his disc brakes out, well maybe.
Now, discs on road bikes have been a thing for a while, and they are all well and good, and you guys are actually seem to be getting on board with them now. 85% of you voted Tom Boonen racing on discs this year hot last week.
I agree, definitely agree with that.
Definitely. Now, we don't stop there on technical developments at GCN, because you might remember a week or so ago, Cy did an amazing video about graphene. And graphene could well be the future of bike design, or at least Cy said it could help to push carbon fibre and how it's used on. But just a day or so later, researchers at MIT somewhat stole Cy's thunder with what could be a fantastic advance in material science.
Yeah, they did kind of rain on my parade ever so slightly, but the fact is, what they have discovered could have really pretty positive effects on the whole of humanity. Not to mention what amazing things it could do with bikes. Because what they've done is they've successfully fused flakes of graphene to make 3D structures. So you'll remember from that video perhaps that graphene is a two-dimensional material, and so the only way it can help bikes is when you add it to stuff like carbon fibre. But here, the substance that they've created can be made three-dimensional. And what it makes is a substance that is 10 times stronger than steel, but 95% lighter, which is pretty mind-blowing. And apparently it's all down to the unique geometrical structure of this new material.
Now, all this talk of super light bikes does, for me, raise quite an interesting question, mate, which is, if you could build a 3 kilo bike using graphene, all this stuff, I can see that on a smooth climb, that would make any rider a lot faster. Right?
Yeah.
You know, Dan might keep up with me, I might keep up with you, that sort of thing. But if you were on a really flat, rough road or a rough technical descent, would a 3 kilo bike really have any benefits over a 7 kilo bike?
Yeah, or would it in fact hold you back because there'd be less inertia in your wheels maybe? It is an interesting question, and I definitely think that maybe there is a sweet spot for bike weight, but we probably actually just need to check it out. Do you think we need to do some science?
I think we need to do some science. I've actually got my science glasses ready.
Oh, ready for
science.
Let us know what you think in the meantime though, whilst we wait for Tom to do some science, because actually this is really important. Can you be too light? I think maybe you can.
I tend to agree, let us know.
It's now time for cycling shorts.
We'll start cycling shorts with the hot news of the weekend, and potentially the biggest non-story of the week too. That's because very well-respected investigative journalists at 60 Minutes, which airs on CBS, released their long-awaited documentary into mechanical doping in the pro cycling peloton. The conclusion? Inconclusive.
Yeah. For me, Tom, I think it all hinges around the star witness, who's this Hungarian inventor called István Vargas, who supposedly created the hidden motor for bikes right back in 1998 and then sold the exclusive rights to an individual for 10 years. And then when 10 years elapsed, started creating these hidden motors again. And my problem with him is the fact that no one seems to have checked out his backstory or his claims yet. So he's not really a credible witness. No one seems to have seen any of his supposedly hidden motors. So for me at the minute, it just does feel like, we're missing some crucial evidence. Right, Tom, this is a story that I thought was particularly cool, okay? Following on from last week's piece about our weekend warriors, the healthiest cyclists, doctors in a borough of London in the UK are now going to have a new treatment they're going to be able to prescribe patients. And it will be a course of, wait for it, cycling. How cool is that? So they will be able to prescribe this cycling course to obese patients in order to help them cycle safely and therefore be able to ride and get fit and ultimately end up losing weight, which I think is just a brilliant initiative.
That's an amazing initiative. Now, Cycling Shorts is usually about the news in cycling, but perhaps not surprisingly, at least for the name of the segment, we are going to touch on fashion this week. And that's because in the comments on your first ride of Dura Race video, Simon Knowles was really quite derogatory about your use of arm warmers and shorts.
He was. Now, I'm not going to lie, Tom, but that completely shocked me. I was ready for the storm of controversy surrounding the choice of black shoes with white socks. That was fine. But this, arm warmers, I wasn't wearing them to look cool, I must stress. I was wearing them actually to keep warm, but I didn't think it was even a fashion issue. So I asked him as such, and he said that apparently in Australia, it is a big faux pas. So we wondered whether you lot could help us settle this matter once and for all. Arm warmers and shorts, cool or not cool? And if it's not cool, what on earth are you supposed to wear instead? Serious question.
I'd say arm warmers and shorts when it is cool outside and not really cold.
Yeah.
I've always thought it was a practical thing. We've got more fashion now actually because the king of bling, Adam Blythe, has been showing off his new shoes at the Dubai Tour. Look at these.
He has. Look at that. Yeah, seriously. Snakeskin with 24 karat gold Nike swoosh. They would look pretty good with Sagan's new wheels, actually, I think. Now, Daniel Lloyd, ever the intrepid reporter, has actually risked the wrath of Adam Blythe's mum on Twitter once again and actually caught up with Blythe out in Dubai. Let's hear what he says about his shoes.
Yeah, we are here with Adam Blythe, who is now the official head of fashion for the GCN Show. He's going to be deeming new products hot or not after the disaster, which is us, saying that these weren't hot, which we got a lot of flack for, so we've promoted him to that point. But he's going to go through his shoes. He hasn't got the new ones that you saw on Instagram, but he has got these. Talk us through them, because you can't actually buy Nike cycling shoes these days, so where do these come from?
Yeah, so it's just a guy in Italy, basically. It's DMT soles with branded up Nike, obviously, and then it's just a guy that makes the football shoes for all the football players. So it's just basically any design that I want within reason through Nike, and yeah, they make them for me.
So you design it yourself at home and send it off, comes back?
It's not like the little details. I'll just find like a print that I like or a pattern or some colour, and that's it, send it off, and he'll generally do it.
Well, I do have to say they look pretty smart, and we are looking forward to seeing the new ones very soon. Unfortunately, not here in Dubai though.
Thanks, Dan, but away from sartorial matters now and back to the nitty-gritty, where bike share schemes are big news, and nowhere more so than in China, where the latest is that Foxconn, who also make the iPhone, good fact, son,
Yeah.
will be producing 5.6 million bikes for one of the big bike share scheme players, Mobike. That's just fantastic news, great to hear.
It is, more people on bikes, always good. Now, unfortunately, we do have to end Cycling Shorts on a sad note again, as the young and super talented British rider Charlie Craig unfortunately passed away within the last couple of weeks. He was just 15 years of age and had only very recently clinched the National Cyclocross Series for his age group. And so he will be sadly missed, and our sincerest condolences go out to his family and his friends.
Caption of the week, and we actually had some absolutely amazing efforts for our last Caption of the Week competition, and the winner is Maciej Stefanczyk, who came in with "Some people really need smart helmets." That's pretty good, Maciej.
It is pretty good.
Pretty good.
You'll have to cast your minds back, obviously, to remember that week we were talking about smart helmets, but anyway, there we go. This week's caption photo is this one, which is an absolute perler. We are obviously making full advantage of the treacherous conditions at the Cross Worlds. Tom, do you mind if I have a go at this one?
Just go straight for it.
All right. Disc brakes are so 2016. Ass brakes are the new thing.
That is, I mean, if you think you can beat that, and I know that very few of you will believe that you can beat a caption as excellent as Simon's,
Ass brakes.
leave your caption competition efforts in the comments below. And don't be deterred by how good Si's effort was, because the winner is going to be one of you guys. And you will win a GCN Camelback bottle.
Get out, mate. Get out.
Get
Show
out,
the
get
bottle.
out.
Whilst you're doing that, can we just take a moment to look at how amazing that photo is and how many amazing opportunities you have for creating far better captions? He's still holding on to his bars, look. It's as if he's about to ride it out.
There is an amazing photo
Even though
sequence.
Last Bone's handlebar is wedged right between his legs.
Tech of the week. And Si, you saw some very interesting stuff while you were over at Shimano last week.
I did, obviously, all the new Shimano Dura stuff, but Pro were out there as well, and they've launched a couple of new components. Have a look. The Shimano Dura-Ace Di2 press cam hasn't actually just been about the new Dura-Ace. Pro have also launched a few components here. So in my hand, I've got the new Vibe aerodynamic handlebars. So you can clearly see that they have an aerofoil top section, and that is a NACA airfoil, I'm told, which is the most aerodynamically optimal cross section that you can get. But the reason it's being launched here at the Di2 cam is actually its ability to integrate with the new Dura-Ace. So there is, you'll be able to see, an exit for the Dura-Ace cable, and that's because the new Dura-Ace junction box can live as a bar end plug. And so you'll see on my bike here, it means that the junction box is within finger distance when you're riding. One final feature that I particularly like is the fact that woven in amongst the carbon fibre is an Integra fibre layer. And what that means is that should the handlebar suffer an impact, it wouldn't give way catastrophically like some carbon fibre bars are prone to doing. What it would do is actually hold its shape so that you would know in advance that there was something wrong and you could replace it. So that would be after a catastrophic crash, or maybe you've flown with your bike and then airline squashes it. This Vibe handlebar is complemented by the new Vibe stem as well, which has also been designed to be aerodynamically optimised. Part of that is the fact they put the bolts rear facing as opposed to forward facing, which I thought was kind of cool. And then lastly, we've got the new Stealth saddle. So Pro say this is designed to be for the modern cyclist and the aggressive, fast riding cyclist. So effectively, it's designed to be ridden in a position where you're leaning quite a long way forward, so you are more aerodynamic. And the way it accommodates that is by having that large channel there, so you can lean further forward, but also you notice that's quite a short saddle, and so the idea is that you can actually move it further forwards while still not falling foul of the UCI's regulations.
Aside from that, how was your week last week?
It was pretty awesome, actually, it has to be said. Got to ride the new Dura-Ace power meter, video about that coming soon. Got to ride the new C40 and the C60 wheels, video about that coming soon. And then, to cap it all off, we happen to be staying in the same hotel as Quickstep and also Giant Sunweb. One thing I did notice about the Quickstep guys, those Venge Vice discs we were talking about earlier, there are a few of those knocking around. Nicky Terpstra, for one, was checking one out. So potentially, will we see the classic squad go full discs? The moment has arrived. The new GCN cycling kit is now available for pre-order, and not just one, but there's actually 3 different versions.
Firstly, our GCN Pro Team kit by ASSOS of Switzerland, as modelled by yours truly, which is available now to pre-order.
Not just modelled, Tom, but rocked.
As rocked by yours truly, will be available to pre-order now and is going to start shipping from late March. And it's all there. Jersey, bib shorts, vest, knee warmers and arm warmers, caps and socks, as worn by all of us on camera since January 1st.
And then, as I said, there's not just one, but there's 3 different versions. We've got the training kit as well. Check this out. Different kind of look, and also a slightly lower price point as well. And there will be a women's version coming soon as well.
And to say thank you for your support, if you buy a set of GCN ASSOS kits, so a jersey and bib shorts, we will send out a GCN bottle with that too.
Nice. And then last but not least, as promised, we have also created our own brand fan kit. So that will be coming soon, and you can head over to the GCN shop either by clicking on the link in the description below this video or through the power of magic. There will also be a link at the end of this video too. It's probably not magic, is it? It's just you doing some clever stuff.
It's not that clever, but
Just Tom doing some stuff.
stuff.
It's time now for hack/bodge of the week, and definitely one of our highlights of the whole show. So, first of all, we've got this from Ton Traculon on Facebook. This is one of the greatest hacks of all time. That feeling where you haven't got the right clamp for your front mech, well, why not use an old stem, saw it in half, and then you can use any mech you want? I can't even work out what bike that is, mate.
I can't. But I've just had my mind blown because I've realised that the stem clamp diameter of 31.8 is actually the same as most things anyway, because they're also 31.8.
Unless that's a retro one for 25 point, whatever it was.
25.4.
Anyway,
Amazing
genius hack there. That is a cracker.
Next up, Jason McCullum, kind of moving on from our cycling themed furniture thing, found this bar stool for sale on Facebook. On in eBay, sorry, not Facebook.
Nice, look at that. What does the chain do?
I don't know, it'd be quite cool if you could pedal along so you could burn off your beer calories whilst drinking.
Yeah. Or like you pedal and, you know, trigger something and it orders you another beer or something. I like that.
This one's Jason Dorr. I'm hesitant to say hack on this side. I think it's ingenious, but he's basically used a bottle cage in an old car that doesn't have cup holders.
I think that's a hack.
Okay, it's a hack.
Yeah, for sure, man. A bodge would be just sticking your water bottle on your dashboard and having it roll around all over the place and potentially getting stuck under your brake pedal. But that, there's going to be no such issues with that. Nice hack. All right, next up, we've got this one, the ultimate commuting setup, which I don't know about ultimate commuting setup. It's another of these ones with utterly bizarre handlebar stem setups. That is pretty epic, that. I don't even know how that works.
So you've got a stem, which is connected to a bit of pipe, which is connected to another stem, and out of the next stem, there's a chunk of, I mean, it's probably not steerer tube, but it's effectively steerer tube that goes up to another stem that points back over the other two stems where you have your riser handlebars. But the thing that really confuses me about this bodge is I can't imagine anyone is tall enough to sit on the saddle that low and reach those handlebars. It'd be like, how would you do it?
Imagine if you hit a bump, that thing's just going to snap in half. Right, that is a definite bodge.
Bodge.
Absolutely, bodge of the week. Although possibly this one gives it a run for its money, because I believe that's a broom handle for a handlebar.
I love on this broom handle for a handlebar, because that broom handle is too wide to actually attach anything to. He has just drilled into it and screwed the brake levers on.
Well, that's quite a good hack, but the whole thing is just a monumental bodge. This one actually looks a little bit neater, doesn't it? This one's sent in by Doe Keg, who's built himself his own laptop or iPad stand for when he's Zwifting.
Fair play.
That looks like some pretty good joinery there. Good
Hack.
woodworking. Yeah, good hack.
Okay, I really like this one. So this one is, for me, it's probably a hack. It's from Jamie, who said, when looking for some bar mitts online, I came across this awesome alternative. I don't own UGG or UGG style boots, but if I ever do, I now know what I'll do with them when they wear out.
They look pretty good, don't they?
That's
Stick them on
pretty
your
fly.
handlebars.
With a bit of gaffer tape.
Fair enough. And not only do you have warm hands, but you also have stylish hands, because there's no arguing with sheepskin.
It's also a Cannondale headshot bike with a pair of BMX handlebars, which is a bodge. Finally, Si, I know you want to talk about this one.
Well, yeah, this I love. This was sent in by Callum Crew. Now, unfortunately, it's not actually a tandem as we first thought when we looked at it, although it almost could be. What it is a man that needed to transport another bike with him, and so he has fashioned this nifty bike carrying device out of a panny rack and a load of old bungees. Good bodge.
Good
Fantastic bodge there. Right, make sure that you keep sending your hacks and bodges in. We will decide ultimately whether it is a hack or a bodge, but whatever it is, we're going to love doing it. So make sure you keep sending them in using the hashtag GCNHack. We should have a GCN bodge one, shouldn't we, really, as well? Actually, no, that's double the work. Don't do GCN
Just
bodge.
GCN hack. Competition time now, and the winner of the Rotor Twin Power Meter and Rotor Q-Rings unboxing competition is, you ready?
Yeah.
David Ferenczi from Hungary.
Congratulations, David.
Yeah, apologies for the pronunciation there. David, get in touch and we will make sure you're amazing prize.
Yeah, he's probably not that surprised at pronunciation.
No.
I'm imagining he's a regular GCN viewer. I'm also imagining that quite a few of you are going to be slightly disappointed now. In fact, all but one of you are going to be disappointed. But don't let it hold you back. There is another competition running live now on GCN. We are giving away an amazing Elite Drivo Smart Trainer. So, in the description beneath this video, there is a link. Click on that and you'll get through to the competition. It has been an incredibly busy week in racing. Firstly, we're going to tell you about the World Cyclocross Championships, because what a weekend it was over in Luxembourg. Frozen on the Saturday and then semi-frozen on the Sunday, which, as you'll remember, I'm sure, is one of the top 3 slipperiest kinds of mud there is.
It's well up there. But the weather pattern meant that the women's race was run out in the ice, and it looked, for most of the race, that Marianne Vos was going to take her 8th career Women's World Cyclocross title, which is unbelievable. But anyway, she had quite a close battle with Sanne Cant, and partway through the last lap, Vos stumbled, shipped her chain. Cant got back to her, which left a high-speed, highly technical drag race right the way to the finish. It was a real nail-biter, but Cant just held her off in the finish straight to take her first ever world title after many years of trying. Vos was second, and Katarina Nash came in third.
Yeah, it was an absolute nail-biter. My heart was in my mouth. But one thing it does definitively do, Tom, I think it ends right here, right now, our long-running joke about Sanne Cant, because now she's got the rainbow bands on her back. We will always know that Sanne can. Okay, all right, sorry. Moving swiftly on now to the men's elite race, which was another absolute belter. And it did look, it has to be said, as though actually mechanicals were the order of the day. Mathieu van der Poel saw his 20-second lead at half distance evaporate with 4 punctures over the course of the day. But for my money, actually, Wout van Aert put in an incredibly mature and controlled ride. He started slowly, he caught Mathieu van der Poel, and then he had enough in the tank to really put the advantage home when Van der Poel was struggling with yet another flat tyre. Ultimately, Van Aert was a well-deserved winner. Mathieu van der Poel, an unfortunate second place, and Kevin Powles was a very distant third on this occasion.
Yeah, everyone was miles behind those two. And some people did put the kind of prevalence of punches on that course down to the fact that it was frozen below the layer of mud, and to account for that, all the guys were running really low tyre pressures. But apparently, some riders, Lars van der Haar included, had up to 7 punches, which must mean that something else was going on. It's not just equipment choice. So the course was supposedly on an old steel factory, which meant there's a lot of kind of building rubble and maybe some even sharp steel shards under the mud that they found after 2 days of racing.
That'd be a real shame, you know. I did think that Van Aert looked a little bit more controlled and a little bit smoother, but you can't argue 7 punctures, you know, that goes beyond bad luck. There's something funky going on there, isn't there?
It's almost 1 puncher a lap. Now, kind of feeding, it's a really tech nerdy point, Si, but feeding into your thing about Van Aert perhaps looking like a smoother, more mature rider on the day, he chose to use green Michelin mud treads on his Dugas tubeless, which are really hard to get hold of, they're very old. But
I've got a stash if you want.
Yeah, get in touch. Professional cross riders. They are, in my opinion, having ridden both those and the Dugas Rhino, which is the most common mud tyre, I think that the green Michelin muds are slightly slower rolling, but do offer slightly more grip. So Van Aert used a grippier tyre at a slightly higher pressure, which could have helped him to have slightly fewer punches.
Road now, slightly fewer punctures and an awful lot less mud, and we will start with the Cadel Evans Great Ocean Road Race, which is the first one-day World Tour race of the year. Annemiek van Vleuten won the women's event, and it was Nikias Arndt who won the men's event, just pipping Simon Gerrans to the line.
In Argentina, Quick Step Floors won an incredible 5 out of 7 stages at the Vuelta San Juan. However, it was a much improved at time trialling Bauke Mollema who took the overall victory for Trek Segafredo.
Yep, and then up in the Northern Hemisphere at the Trofeo Mallorca, Andre Greipel took a sprint stage, and in doing so, I think Tom has definitively proven that if Matt was still racing, he would have won that stage. Which is an interesting thought, isn't it? And then we've also got to give a big shout out to Dan McClay. He won a stage as well, but then had to miss the podium celebration because he had crashed into the bank of photographers after the line and smashed himself up pretty badly. But he did Instagram this from his hospital bed later on. Super happy to win today in Mallorca. The team was excellent, and regarding the crash after the line, I'm fine. Still as beautiful as ever, and the moustache remains intact.
It's time now for Wattage Bazooka.
Man, that was the flattest Wattage bazooka I've ever seen.
I'm not mad.
Wattage bazooka.
It's time now for Wattage Bazooka. And with such a busy week of racing, it has taken a long time to sort through and pick the Pro Wattage Bazooka. But Si, I think you've got someone.
Well, yeah, after much debate, this week's Pro Wattage Bazooka goes to a man who hopefully will find some solace in this award as opposed to his silver medal. And maybe even he'll have stopped crying by now. It is, of course, Mathieu van der Poel. His Wattage bazooka goes for the fastest start ever seen in cyclocross. He dropped everyone by the end of the start loop and didn't see a single rider until Wout van Aert caught up with him mid-race, as he was 2 punctures or 3 punctures in to his puncture fest.
2 or 3.
Yeah, anyway, a very well-deserved Wattage bazooka, and hopefully some consolation that you haven't got the rainbow bands this year. But you'll get them next year, it's fine.
The viewer Wattage bazooka goes to Rachel McKinnon, who has made a breakthrough. She's now able to make the break, drive the pace in the break, and keep the pace really high. Great stuff, Rachel. Tweet of the week now, and for the first time in a couple of weeks, these are actually tweets, not Instagram posts. Going to kick off with Mathieu van der Poel, whose Sunday clearly went from bad to worse when he posted this picture of his car's computer system notifying that he had 4 flat tyres.
That is genius, isn't it? That is unfortunate, Matthew, but that is an absolute genius tweet. Could have been Instagram, that one as well.
I think it was an Instagram as well.
Yeah, probably.
But we took it from Twitter.
All right, and this one from Wout van Aert, arch nemesis and ultimately the rider that came out on top. Good way to make money on a Sunday evening. No joking right now. I feel sorry for everyone who had bad luck today. And he has retweeted Igor Tavella, who is looking at putting some of his stash of green Michelin Wild Gripper tyres on eBay.
Igor would probably get a pretty nice holiday out of that at the moment.
Probably would, wouldn't you? Check it out, good stash. It's time now for comment of the week, and as ever, we have been thoroughly enjoying reading everything you have to say underneath our videos, and also Facebook, Instagram, Twitter as well. This one though is one of the best, from Pietro Castelletti, and had us laughing away. Daniel and Matt still battling for the sexiest voiceover, to which when asked who wins, he said Daniel sounds more professional sexy, Matt more romantic sexy.
We think it might be a silhouette of the Abu Dhabi skyline across the midriff as well, and it's certainly growing on us.
His voice has just gone.
What? Going on us?
Yeah, I'm feeling a little bit of pressure now.
Just playing with it. Sorry, did I sound like David Attenborough? Nah.
Right, we're on.
Yeah, we're on.
And all I would have to say, Pietro, is you've forgotten about John Chocolate Voice Bevan, the man with the sexiest voice, not just at GCN, but arguably the world over. John, care to add anything?
Not at the present moment, no.
Come on, John.
So chocolatey there.
Well, from Chocolate Voice to Sugar Man, who commented, I want to see Cy do the FTP test. He looks fit AF, even with those horrendous white socks, which I think is harsh. And that had 18 thumbs up.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for the compliment. Maybe I will do an FTP test this year, actually. I'm quite interested. But the sock thing, come on. Peter Sagan wears black shoes and white socks now. And admittedly, he is far more talented and much cooler than I am. But still, you know, just trying to follow in his footsteps. Anyway, the last one is this one from Pond58, who says, Lasty needs to do some upper body and core work to stabilise the upper body that flails like a wet noodle when sprinting. Lasty, you pulled that comment out. What, you know, you don't flail like a wet noodle.
I thought it was a vague compliment, because when he said flails like a wet noodle when sprinting, by default, that means that I can sprint, or he considers that I might be able to sprint. No one's really ever been that kind to me before. Fair
enough, though, that you're looking at Lasty's upper body. Most people, I think, probably just look straight at the gurney.
On the channel this week, on Wednesday, we have got how to do an ultra endurance ride. Ooh. Similar to other goals, though, is the gradual build-up. Increase the length of your longest ride each week, and do so gradually, because going in too long, too early, could do more harm than good. Once you know what your end goal is, work out a plan about how you can get there between now and then. On Thursday, we've got the bikes that you need to know about in the Pro Peloton this year, and on Friday, it is of course Ask GC Anything.
Yeah, Saturday, Tom here has had a close look at John Degenkolb's brand new Trek, which I personally am very intrigued to see. On Sunday, we've got a double header. We've got a brand new unboxing for you, so make sure you check that out and get your entry in early. And then Matt has also challenged John Degenkolb to a head-to-head to find out who the greatest cyclist is between the two of them. And then Monday, in Maintenance Monday, we have a look at steel bikes and find out all there is to know about that material. Tuesday?
Welcome to the GCN Show.
Ready, mate?
Just about.
Good. Because it's now time for Extreme Corner. And this week, I almost want to say it's as extreme as it gets, because this is BMX rider Bas Keep. Over to you, Bas. That, no matter how many times I've seen that, Tom, that still absolutely blows me away. Fair play, Baz. But unfortunately, Baz's extremeness marks the end of the GCN show for another week. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give this video a like and make sure you subscribe to GCN as well. To do that, just click on the globe.
And if you would like to pre-order your very own ASSOS of Switzerland GCN kit, there's a link on screen to do that right now too. And we spoke a lot about graphene at the start of the video, and Cy's expose on graphene in cycling is right there.
Expose, I like that. And then also the video about the new Dura-Race Di2 with hydraulic discs. That's definitely worth checking out. And that is just down there.